Stream. I am Pugs Moran. I do this every Monday through Friday, noon until whenever the news runs out. That's what we like to say here. What do we do on this show? Well, every day at noon. Here's how I spend the previous 3 hours or so: drinking coffee, glancing at the TV news, and just going through all the websites, all the trend spots, all the headlines, reading different news aggregates, all those sorts of things. And I compile for you what I think is what's causing the world to buzz today. And I run it down for you. It's like a nice little cheat sheet. So, later in your day, here's what I imagine. Later in your day, you're walking around, you run into somebody and they say, hey, did you hear about? I like to think that I can provide you with the resources so that you can confidently say, why, yes, I did hear about that. Pugs on the High Noon stream mentioned it. So there you go. That's what this is for. It's not divisive. We don't go get in the weeds over politics. I don't care if you're blue or red or whatever. This is all of the other stuff. Mostly. Sometimes politics gets, it's so ubiquitous in modern day America that, it's hard to avoid, but it also, sometimes just becomes intrusive like it did earlier in the week. I think we don't have any real politics to discuss today. Nothing being intrusive, which is good, because we don't like that. All right, so pull your beanbag chairs in your soul circle, join hands, say a prayer if that's what you're into. It's not so much my thing, but hey, I get it. I don't judge, whatever. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, man. We got Kid Rock telling us what beer we're supposed to drink. Okay, so we'll get into that. Mrs. Doubtfire, huh? Whoa. Just burning books and all that. They're going to get rid of Mrs. Doubtfire, too. Apparently, Mrs. Doubtfire's under control. We got earthquakes. We got earthquakes going on all over. We got problems in Israel we're going to talk about. Hey, we got a crazy Kennedy throwing his hat into the ring. We got all kinds of stuff that we're going to talk about today. Plus, you will not believe how much Sting makes every day off that Puffy song. Remember that Puffy song for Biggie where it's I've been missing you. That whatever song was, it won all kinds of awards, but they sampled every breath you take. You are not going to believe what Sting makes every single day for the licensing of that song. All right, all that and more coming up in trends. But first, before we get into the trends and all the things that people are buzzing about today in the world, we like to give you a little segment we call Previously On, where we go through the history of this day, where we talk about the things that occurred that shaped this day throughout history and maybe provide us with some clues as to what to expect in the coming hours. Then we go through the birthdays. We talk about people who were born on this day. And then we get into the deaths. We talk about the people who have passed. Let me tell you something, man. Let me just tell you right now. I don't typically get, excited about the death segment, but I'll leave you with this. Not a good day to be a megastar. Megastars die on this day. We'll get to that in deaths. All right, let's get started. I am Pugs Moran. This is High Noon for the 6th day of April, year of our Lord, 2023. April 6th, I'll have you know, is the 96th day of the year. There are 269 more days in this year. So get those New Year's Eve plans started. All right, let's jump into previously on April the 6th. On this day in 1814, nominal beginning of the Bourbon Restoration. It's happening over in France. The Bourbons. The Bourbons were the royal family of France. And then somebody was like, off with their heads. And then another guy goes, how do we do it? And then somebody goes, my friend Guillotine has an idea. And then they started chopping all the royalties' heads off. And Napoleon came out. There were a bunch of years of nonsense. And then Napoleon took over. And then what happened was Napoleon, although on the world stage, was achieving incredible glory for himself and conquering, all these lands. And that's all great for Napoleon. But the French people were like, hey, has anyone seen an 18-year-old in like a generation? This country doesn't have any 18 or 19-year-old men anymore because Napoleon has killed them all in battle. Hey, and by the way, the ones that we do have you noticed? Very rarely do they all have their arms and legs or both their eyes. He devastated the fighting population of France for personal glory. So it was on this day that, like, I've told the story a number of times because I like Napoleon. I don't like Napoleon. I think Napoleon is fascinating. So I've told the story about his exile to Elba and how he convinced the guards to, give me another chance. And then they attacked France and he became emperor again. But this is the first time. This is like the Bourbon. The people were like, okay, we've had enough of Napoleon. We're going to reinstall the monarchy. So the Bourbons came back on this day in 1814. On this day in 1841, U.S. President John Tyler is sworn in 2 days after having become president upon William Henry Harrison's death. Again, this was the era, we talk about this, these names come up from time to time. This is the era of the spare president. The president that just is like, what'd that guy do? Nothing. So we have presidents who did nothing for like 60 years. They did nothing. And then we got Lincoln. Okay, and then Lincoln. And then we had a couple of good ones, Grant was all right, a couple guys popped, and then nothing again. Nothing again until Teddy Roosevelt. How long? There were a lot of spare presidents. There's a lot of dudes, we don't even know what they did. We just don't. There's a lot of dudes that sometimes I see their names and I go, wait, was he a president? Because I always have to mention if it's a president's birthday or inauguration. I don't know, I just feel like that's historic. On this day in 1860, the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, later renamed the Community of Christ, is organized by Joe Smith III and others at Amboy, Illinois. So this is the start of like the Mormons, right? So when we think of Mormons, we think of Utah, but actually they started in Illinois. They started like downstate Illinois. And then they were, I guess they were weird. They were like weird. They were like a weird community. And boy, if you think we don't handle weird well in 2023, imagine how they handled weird in 1860. So they got chased out. So Joe Smith and all the Mormons, they got chased out. And they kept getting chased out, and they kept getting chased. They were in Missouri for a while. It's all over the place. And they get chased out. And then finally they got to, like, Utah. And they were like, all right, nobody's here. And that's why they're there. On this day in 1862, during the American Civil War, the Battle of Shiloh, or as we Grant enthusiasts call it, the Battle of Shit Show. Oh, my God. Shiloh is my favorite battle of my favorite. Okay, that's kind of a weird way to say it, right? It's the one that I find. It's not the big. Well, I mean, actually, it is the biggest in one category, which is casualties. 24,000 casualties at the Battle of Shiloh. All right, here's what happened at the Battle of Shiloh. Well, here I'll tell you what happened on this day. On this day in the American Civil War, the Battle of Shiloh begins. Forces under Union General Ulysses S. Grant meet Confederate troops led by General Albert Sidney Johnston. All right, so this was at a time, you have to remember, I told you I'm a Grant freak, so let me spread out and tell you about this shit show anniversary here in America that we're going on with the Battle of Shiloh. So Grant was like, Grant was handling Indian problems, and he was sort of fortifying the flank of the Civil War. Grant wasn't really a highly trusted officer at this point, although he was effective, so he was put into use in the field. The knock on Grant, like if you were to like ask, who are the other big ones? Like Winfield Scott, who was in charge of the Union Army. Winfield Scott would probably have told Lincoln, Grant's effective, but he's a drunk, and we can't count on him to follow orders. So Grant was out west, and he's doing his thing, and he is just slaughtering people in battles after battles after battles, winning. And all of a sudden, Lincoln starts seeing these reports. Now you got to remember, Lincoln's getting his ass handed to him. Guys like Sherman, Sherman are doing all right, but like McClellan is getting his ass handed to him there in Richmond and all that. Things are not going well. Lincoln can hear cannon fire from the window of the White House, right? So it's freaking him out. And he's getting these reports on the war every day, and he's seeing that this dude, Grant, is the only one who is kicking major ass. So he demands that maybe it was McClellan at this point. I don't know who was in charge of the army, but whoever it was, Lincoln said, get that guy Grant and bring him over here, all right? We're going to move him west. So Grant got the orders, and he Ramboed his ass east from the western flank. So while he was Ramboing his way, just like leading his Was it the Army of the Tennessee? I think it was. So he's leading his Army of the Tennessee, and he's like, ah, and he's just Ramboing his way to the east, right? Trying to get to Richmond, trying to get to, like, what would eventually become the Battle of Appomattox. So he's Ramboing it. And he gets to the Battle of Shiloh, the Battle of Shit Show, and his dudes are exhausted, man. His guys are just beat the fuck. And the Confederates were overmanned. They had Sherman, the asshole. Sherman's an asshole. I'll get to him in a minute. They had Sherman coming from the north, and they had Grant Ramboing with his exhausted troops from the west. And they were pinned down. And the Confederates the Union Army, who had more soldiers than the Confederates at Shit Show, lost more men, like far more men. And the Confederates realized it was, and they got away. But man, that's a really interesting. Oh, and by the way, fun fact. The Eagles, the band The Eagles, before they were named the Eagles, they were named Shiloh, after the Battle of Shiloh, or Shit Show. How about Sherman, though? While we're here, here's something that I've always found interesting, and something that I don't understand why my Southern friends haven't caught on to before now. So, I'm a big Grant fan. I love General Grant. General Grant was awesome, even though he was a drunk. He was like a berserker. Like Grant, that was the knock on him, that he would be on his horse getting ready to lead his troops into battle, and he would just glug, 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 glug. You know how berserker those ancient Russo Viking warriors would eat all of these hallucinogens that they found, these mushrooms and stuff that they found and then they'd go into battle completely tripping balls? That was basically Grant. So that was the knock on him. But Sherman, William Tecumseh Sherman, a man with statues all over this country. Oh, Union. There's a giant Tecumseh Sherman golden statue accompanied by an angel with wings in New York City, in like the middle of New York City, in Washington, D.C. There's this beautiful memorial to Union General William Tecumseh Sherman. While we're tearing down all of these General Lee statues and all that stuff, why aren't we, why hasn't anyone in the South pushed back and gone, hey, all those statues of that guy Sherman? Do you know how many Southern women he allowed his troops to rape? Do you know how many Southern communities, when the war was already over, how many communities he burned to the ground? Do you know how many fields he rendered useless for generations with his scorched earth policy? Sherman was a madman. Sherman didn't just want to win the war for the Union. Sherman was, and this is how people are complicated, Sherman was not a racist. Sherman was whatever the opposite of a racist was. And he hated the South for slavery. And he wanted to make them pay. And maybe in one category of someone's moral conscience, they can justify that. But the means by which he enacted his revenge was a war crime. And yet, all over this country, we've got these proud statues of Union General William Tecumseh Sherman. We've named the Sherman tank after him. We name all kinds of things after General Sherman. And we're tearing down these Confederate statues, and rightfully so. Those people were traitors. They were traitors. The war's over. It's been 100 years. They commanded men in their armies to shoot people fighting under the flag of the United States of America. They are traitors. Distance ourselves from that. The war's over. Those statues should come down. I never understood why they were up. Nice participation trophy, General Lee. I mean, what the Anyway, while we're tearing those down, we also have to look at Sherman. Sherman was a war criminal by any measure of what a war criminal is. And yet, because the Union won, nobody asks any questions about why his statues are up. I can't really talk Civil War. I can talk Civil War as it pertains to Grant, because I'm really into Grant. Not really into Grant. Like, I don't have posters of Grant, but I documentaries, and I've read books and, stuff like that. All right. On this day in 1860, sorry, is it? Yes. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, I didn't think this was this quick. Okay. So on this day in 1865, also in the American Civil War, I mentioned it before, the Battle of Sailor's Creek kicks off. This is the big battle. This is the battle that would lead, this is part of the Appomattox campaign, which would lead to the end of the Civil War. So we mentioned that. Grant was in the Western Theater, fighting in the rear flank of the Civil War, and he was kicking everyone's ass. So Abraham Lincoln said, "Get him over here!" And he came over, and that was the start of the Appomattox campaign, and the whole tide of the war turned, and America's greatest general. Yeah, I said it. I will say it over and over again. And that's the other thing, by the way. You can't take it away from Sherman. Sherman was the tactician. He was a strategy guy. Sherman really did have great strategy, but he was a war criminal. Let's see here. On this day in 1917, during World War I, the United States, we declared war on Germany on this day. I don't know anything about World War I. I really don't. For some reason, I don't know why we didn't really cover it that much in school. It was like World War I happened, but now let's talk about World War II for the next month, right? We always skipped over. We spent a lot of time on the Revolution. Then we spent a lot of time on the Civil War. Then we got to World War I. No time at all on, the War of 1812 was just like mentioned at the end of the Civil War stuff. So hardly anything on the War of 1812. Nothing in public schools anyway. Then we got to World War I, and it was like maybe a day with a test the next day. All right, now you know about World War I. And then it was like a month of World War II. Everything was World War II. World War II, World War II. Very little on Korea. And then by the time, when I was in school anyway, by the time we got into the Vietnam War coverage, oh my God, it was like the last week of school. And they didn't want to talk about it anyway, because it was like the 1970s still, and it was a touchy subject. So it was like, yeah, Vietnam happened. Protesters, napalm, have a good summer, kids, and then we'd go. And then we'd come back and we'd start it all over again. We'd come back and welcome to History 102. Open your books. We're going to learn about the American Revolution for the next month. And we're like, yeah, we're good on that. Maybe we can start out next year with a little bit more detail on War of 1812, World War I, Korean War. And we never did finish anything about Vietnam. Maybe we could do that. Although now kids are probably now learning about Panama and I don't know. Grenada? Didn't we go to war with Grenada? What is Grenada? What happened in Grenada? All right, that's a wiki hole for later that I'll fall into. I'll be expert level on the war of aggression against the Grenadine people. I don't even know where that is. Continuing on, previously on this day in history, on this day in 1973, all right, let's jump ahead. The American League of Major League Baseball begins using the designated hitter. I am baseball pugs. I love baseball. Baseball is, is it my favorite sport? I don't know. So close. It's baseball season, so right now it is. We can say it's my favorite sport for sure. But if football was going on, would I say it's my favorite? I don't know. Anyway. The DH came into play on this day in 1973 in the American League. The greatest day in American League history. Oh, it took you idiots like a couple of decades to go, you know what, it actually is better baseball to watch. But now everybody's got it. For decades, the American League has a designated hitter. Yeah, it's a better game. It's more fun. Oh, I'm sorry. You've just sat through 3 hours of sun-scorched baseball watching, a 1-1 game, and now it's the 9th inning, and you've got a dude on, bags are loaded, it's the 9th inning, there's 2 out, and your pitcher is coming to the plate. What are you guys doing? Way to kill the excitement of the game. Nothing worse than watching a pitcher hit. Nothing worse. What about Shohei Ohtani? Name 3 more. Idiots. Pitchers can't hit. Some can. 1 in a million can. And it's always fun. That's the highlight of like the old National League where there was no designated hitter. It was like the pitcher hit a home run. It's like one in every five. Stupid. Y'all came around. It's fine. This is the one day a year that I'm going to put. I'll never mention it again, that it took you guys decades to come around. But you came around. Chicks dig the long ball, losers. Come to the party. Have some fun. Come on. Designated hitter. That's a position. A pitcher trying to hit a baseball like a struggle busser. It is not, no, that is not baseball. Give me some big, roided up freak show coming up there trying to hit a 600-foot dead center homer. That's what I want. That's baseball. Yeah, I said steroids. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if these guys don't know what the damages are. And by the way, this whole thing, steroids are gone now. No, there's not. No, they're not. They're using performance enhancing drugs that we haven't been able to detect yet. We'll find out. So just make it all legal. Have these like half apes, just, like 700-foot home runs. I don't care. That's going to cause him liver damage in his 50s. I don't care. I don't care about this guy in the 50s. I can't even remember dudes who were on the team 2 years ago with free agency. They don't give a shit about me. Why do I give a shit about their gallbladder, their liver in 20 years? Yeah, I can talk baseball. But those kind of takes, that's why I can't do sports radio. That's also why I'd be the best sports radio guy on the planet. Those kind of takes. Birthdays. Let's get into some birthdays. This is, I said earlier, this is a very bad day to be a superstar and die. We got some birthdays we're going to read through here. One of these celebrities also died on their birthday. Happy birthday, you're dead. That's weird. Let's get into it. Birthdays. Born on this day in 1937, Merle Haggard. White Line Fever. I love Merle Haggard. Merle Haggard's a dude. Was Merle Haggard the guy that was in prison when Johnny Cash came to play and he was like, I could do that? And then he became Merle Haggard? Nice job. If it is you. Yeah, that's him. That's who it is. That's him. Merle Haggard. Aptly named, too, because he looked very haggard. Didn't he? Didn't Merle Haggard look very haggard? Aptly named. Born on this day in 1937, Billy D. Williams, American actor, singer, and writer. Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian. Bingo Long. You ever seen Bingo Long in his traveling? I love that movie. How about Mahogany? How about Lady Sings the Blues? He was like the Cary Grant of the black film movement of the 1970s. He's cool. He's cool as hell. And then he did like Colt 45 commercials on TV. Happy birthday, Billy D. Williams. I got nothing. I could do Billy D. Williams draft. I just named all the movies that I know. He did a lot of movies that I didn't see. A lot of movies I wasn't exposed to. I know the Berry Gordy ones that he did with Diana Ross. I know Mahogany, Lady Sings the Blues, and Bingo Long. I know that one. And the Star Wars stuff. Billy D. Williams. He's awesome. I don't think I have enough of more familiarity with his full body of work. The Billy D. Williams canon escapes me. I can't. Born on this day in 1942, how about Barry Levinson? Film director, film writer, film screenwriter, film. One of the great filmmakers of my lifetime. Barry Levinson, man. Let me tell you something. Sleeper good. You can talk about Scorsese, and I do, and Tarantino, and I do, Levinson, man. Levinson is really sneaky. Wait. Kubrick? Yeah, Kubrick's my favorite. But Levinson, Barry Levinson is sneaky good, man. He was sneaky good. So, Barry Levinson draft. Yeah, we're going to do a Barry Levinson draft. We're going to do an NFL draft style where the number one off the board is the number one favorite. We're going to look at all the films of Barry Levinson. And I think you're probably going, not even sure who Barry Levinson is. I mean, what did he do? You're going to be blown away by what Barry Levinson has done. This is a very good draft to do. Some of my favorite movies of all time. Number one off the board in the Barry Levinson draft is going to be his very first feature film that he wrote and directed. This is 1982's Diner. Diner. Y'all ever seen Diner? Oh my God, Diner is so good. Who's the guy? Is it Paul Reiser? Is it Paul Reiser? Paul Reiser, Mickey Rourke, Tim Daly, whole bunch. One of the dudes, it's about a bunch of dudes, it's about a bunch of buddies who, grew up together. They go to high school and now they're like getting older and they're getting married and they're graduating college and they hang out at this diner and it's about the stupid conversations they have. It occurs in Baltimore in the 1950s. They were all insane Baltimore Colt fans. One of the dudes is such a Baltimore Colt fan that he's getting married to Ellen Barkin. Yeah, Ellen Barkin, young hot Ellen Barkin. So Ellen Barkin is going to marry him, but before he will marry her, before they can get married, she must pass a 100-question quiz on the Baltimore Colts. Johnny Unitas, all of this kind of stuff. Very funny movie. Diner, so good. Number one off the board. Love the movie Diner. If you've never, Mickey Rourke, so good. Such a good movie. Number two off the board in the Barry Levinson draft. My second pick is going to be Good Morning Vietnam. That's right, number two off the board. Good Morning Vietnam from 1987. Number three off the board in the Barry Levinson draft. Second finest baseball movie ever made. Second finest baseball movie ever made. That's what I'm going to say. Second finest baseball movie ever made. What is it? 1984's The Natural. Barry Levinson's The Natural. Robert Redford is Roy Hobbs. Come on. Number four off the board in the Barry Levinson draft. Number four off the board. My favorite political satire. I mean, unless I'm considering Dr. Strangelove. I just consider Strangelove in a different category. It's my favorite movie of all time. But I guess if we're breaking it down, it is a political satire. So this one would be my second favorite political satire of all time from 1997, Wag the Dog. Barry Levinson's Wag the Dog about political manipulation. 26 years before the era that we live in now that is completely drowning in political manipulations. Number five off the board in the Barry Levinson draft, we are going with Rain Man. Rain Man. Gotta watch Wapner. Rain Man. Tom Cruise, Dustin Hoffman, won every award under the sun. Rain Man, number five off the board in the Barry Levinson draft. Once more, recapping. Diner is the number one pick. Good Morning Vietnam is the number two pick. The Natural is the number three pick. Wag the Dog is the number four pick. Rain Man is the number five pick. Oh, but that's not all, because he's Barry Levinson, and he's prolific AF. We got some undrafted free agents that are coming into camp in the Barry Levinson season coming up. We've got Avalon. I love the film Avalon. We've got Tin Men, about guys selling aluminum siding door to door. Sleeper good. Sleepers. We've got Sleepers, but the kids molested at the private school. It's a good movie. Bugsy. Warren Beatty and Annette Bening. The story of the building of Las Vegas. Bugsy. How about Toys? Did you like that one? A lot of people didn't like that one. I didn't mind Toys. And Jimmy Hollywood, because I like Joe Pesci. I like Jimmy Hollywood. That was a good movie. I think that's it. I don't know. Whatever. It might not be it. I think that's it. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Barry Levinson, born on this day in 1942. Born on this day in 1947, John Ratzenberg. Cliff Clavin from Cheers. Never cared for Cliff Clavin. Knew a number of people that were like Cliff Clavin. Maybe I saw a little bit of myself in Cliff Clavin. Didn't like it. But happy birthday to you, John Ratzenberger. Born on this day in 1952, Mary Lou Henner. Oh, come on! Who doesn't love Mary Lou? I love Mary Lou Henner. You know, Mary Lou Henner, Chicago girl. She's like, to me, like the typical Like just the quintessential, the perfect embodiment of like the Chicago girl is Mary Lou Henner and Bonnie Hunt. I don't know if you know who these two people are, but they're like both like, Chicago neighborhood girls born and raised, and they just kind of carry themselves in that way. And they're like that. So I love Mary Lou Henner. Some people be like, oh, Jenny McCarthy's a Chicago. Nah, Jenny McCarthy's a little hoe. I don't want her. Well, what about Shonda Rhimes? Or I'm like, okay, all right, different kind of Chicago. Yeah, okay. I'm a white kid born in the suburbs. So, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, there are other types of quintessential Chicago girls. Oh, was a quintessential. Okay, yeah, I guess for about 30 years she was. Okay, I'm just saying, Mary Lou Henner. Mary Lou Henner's like, I love Mary Lou Henner. Started out on Taxi. Didn't really do anything else other than just be delightful. She would do talk shows and game shows. She never really got a movie career or anything like that. I think she had a TV series, right? Mary Lou Henner Show. And it was probably really bad and ran for 5 seasons because she's just so delightful. She's just, she's just like a nice person. She's got that, what do they call it? Hypermesia, something like that. It's that ability where you can remember everything she remembers everything about everything. It's like she can remember like when she was like 2 years old, some specific, she can remember specific times and dates. If you were to say April 5th, 1951, she would go, yeah, it was sunny. And I remember that was the day. And she can tell you details about the day every single day of her life. She's crazy like that. She does it. She does it on talk shows and stuff. Well, she has it, but it's a real thing. It's a thing that some people have, and she has it. She has just this memory. Imagine being married to that. Oh my God! First of all, you don't want somebody like that, even if they're cute, like Mary Lou Henner. You don't want anybody like that to be your girlfriend or your wife. They remember everything. But let me up the ante for you. You don't want that to be your mom. You know what I mean? It's like, or wait a second, do you want that to be your mom? Because your mom is like your most trusted to every boy. Dads, there's like a thing there, but to every boy, their mom is like their most trusted, confident. You know what I mean? Mom is the one that they don't judge them. They don't care if they do judge them because it's mom, and they take them for granted and all that stuff. So maybe Mary Lou Henner with that memory skill would be a good mom. Mom, what's my password? Oh, that'd be great. Oh, she could remember everything because you could totally lean on her if she was your mom. Couldn't do that if she was your wife. Your wife would screw with you. It wouldn't be good. Anyway, happy birthday, Mary Lou Henner. I like you a lot. Born on this day in 1995, Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker is one of them that guy actors. In my mind, Michael Rooker, Michael Madsen, Tom Sizemore are all the same person. Wait, is there another one? Michael Rooker, Michael Madsen, and Tom Sizemore. Yeah, it's those three. Like those three guys in 1992, if they were casting a certain, we need this kind of guy, those three guys would show up for the casting call, right? If you can't get Michael Rooker, maybe you get Michael Madsen. If you can't get Michael Madsen, hey, who's this guy? It's Tom Sizemore. Now, the problem with this is that mostly, from what I know, Michael Rooker, whose birthday is today, and Michael Madsen have pretty much been decent law-abiding citizens, whereas the other one, Tom Sizemore, is like, he died recently, but Tom Sizemore was a complete mess-up. So I always attached a little bit of mess-up to whenever I thought of like Michael Rooker. Like if I saw Michael Rooker in a movie and he was doing really good, I'd be like, oh, this guy's good. Oh, but wait, he's the guy that smokes crack in strip mall parking lots. And it wouldn't be him. That was Tom Sizemore. But see, I'm blaming Michael Rooker. Anyway, happy birthday, Michael Rooker. Tom Sizemore is now out of the picture. So anything that you do this point forward, I'll just confuse you with Michael Madsen now. See, like Michael Rooker was not in Reservoir Dogs. That was Michael Madsen. Which one was in Saving Private Ryan? That was Tom Sizemore. See, I don't know. They're all the same to me. Born on this day and celebrating a birthday. Isn't this an interesting lady? I can't believe I'm saying this lady's name. Whatever happened to this lady? 1956 she was born. On this day she's having a birthday. She was everywhere, and then she vanished. Happy birthday, kooky, crazy Wisconsin Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann. Remember Michelle Bachmann? Remember her? She was Marjorie Taylor Greene before Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, wait, how would I say that? She was Marjorie Taylor Greene before being Marjorie Taylor Greene was cool. Michelle, what did Michelle Bachmann do? Did she, because she lost re-election. Well, that's fine. They don't go away just because they win re-election. They show up on Fox News. They become bigger than ever. So don't give me that. Did she commit to like anti-Trump real early? Because she could have thrived in the MAGA. You know what I mean? Like Michelle Bachmann should be a leader. When you look at the Boeberts and you look at the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, and then you think we had one of those for years. We had Michelle Bachmann. What happened to her? what the rabble-rousing, crazy-eyed, kind of doable? Like, you'd look at Michelle Bachmann and be like, am I attracted to her? I don't know. I can't. Maybe. I don't know. What happened to her? Where'd she go? Good Lord. Michelle Bachmann could be, the former Secretary of State if she had played her cards right. But I bet very early on, like, remember when Trump came down the escalator? I'm running for president. Remember he did that? He did that. And then like a whole bunch of like established Republican, conservative Republican, evangelical Republicans. The response to that in the beginning was, no, that guy's crazy. And then he just started slaying everybody in the primary debates. He just started mowing everybody down. And then one by one, like Lindsey Graham. Remember Lindsey Graham was on TV the other day begging people to give Trump money. Lindsey Graham is the guy who called him a criminal and a con man, and then Trump gave his number out publicly. Remember how crazy it was? Ted Cruz. Trump called Ted Cruz's wife ugly. Ted Cruz was accused. His dad, Trump's like, his dad killed Kennedy. He went hard on Ted Cruz. Called his wife ugly. And Ted Cruz is like, man, you know what I mean? So a lot of dudes were on the wrong side of Trump early. And I'm wondering if maybe Michelle Bachmann was one of them, and then she just never came crawling back, or what? I don't get it. I don't know, man. Missed opportunity. Anyway, happy birthday, Michelle Bachmann. I have not heard your name in years. Born on this day in 1965, leader of the Pixies, Black Francis. Black Francis, born on this day in 1965. I once helped what I would describe as a exhausted and forlorn Black Francis load his own amplifiers into the back of his pickup truck. And I just thought, 16-year-old me would have thought this impossible. It was odd. My first year, actually, I had only been here in Dallas for probably a couple of days. Kelly and I had just moved down here, and the Fry Street Fair was going on at Denton, and Black Francis was playing a show. And somehow through the radio station, we had these credentials. So we were walking around the backstage area, which is really just an open field where it's cordoned off behind where the stages were. And I'm just wandering around by myself. And I just see this guy from the back of the stage loading up his truck, and he looked to be struggling. And I went, hey, I got that. And I helped him carry this amp. And he's like, oh, thanks, man. And I look at him, and I'm like, that's freaking Black Francis. And that was it. Helped him load his equipment, and I walked away. And I thought, he should have someone that does this for him. I mean, he's a member of the Pixies. They were an important band. I hope that history has rewarded him better than what it appeared like it was treating him in 2001. Because in 2001, it was just him, a pickup truck, and some amps that he was loading up. Keep that cost down, I guess. I mean, I can understand that. Born on this day in 1969. Happy birthday to Paul Rudd. American icon, American treasure, Paul Rudd. You want to hear some truth? I'll give you some truth. You ready for me to spit some hot truth at you? All right, the reason I was like 4 minutes late getting on the air today was because I spent an inordinate amount of time today during the prep session going back and forth as to whether Paul Rudd deserved a draft. I love Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is like my favorite guy. And I'm like, oh God, I guess we got to do a Paul Rudd draft, but we already did a Barry Levinson draft. And I really don't like doing two drafts. I like to keep them special. So we're not going to do a Paul Rudd draft, but here's what we're going to do on his birthday. Man, we could have done one. Look at, do you realize how many like cool movies? Like none of them are great. Like Paul Rudd has never, been up for an Oscar or anything. But as far as just like fun movies that have really connected with the zeitgeist of the moment, this is why people love Paul Rudd. Because of Clueless in 95, because of Romeo and Juliet in 96. The Object, smaller movies that he just cranked out. The Object of My Affection, 200 Cigarettes, Cider House Rules, Wet Hot American Summer, 2 Days, Anchorman. All right, now we're starting to notice him, right? We're like, that dude who played the sports guy in Anchorman was funny. That's Paul Rudd. Then he does 40-Year-Old Virgin. Then Night at the Museum. Then he's doing small roles where he's really standing out and stuff like Reno 911 and the Reno 911 movie. Role Models, I Love You Man. Dinner for Schmucks. Our Idiot Brother. Wanderlust is a wonderful movie. This is 40 is a wonderful movie. This is the End is a funny movie, another small role. More Anchorman. Then the Ant-Man movies. Now he's in the Marvel universe. Oh. We could have done a Paul Rudd draft, is my point. Happy birthday, Paul Rudd. Born on this day in 1969, Paul Rudd. Born on this day in 1975, Zach Braff, American actor, director, producer, and screenwriter. Scrubs, right? Yeah, I never watched Scrubs. I should, though. I know I should. Scrubs is so good, man. Everybody says that. And people I respect say that. So I know. It's just there. It's on the list. I'll get to Scrubs eventually. You know what else is on that list? Abbott Elementary. And the fact that I haven't gotten to Scrubs yet doesn't bode well for me enjoying Abbott Elementary anytime soon. But we'll get to it. We will get to all of them. I don't know. Maybe I'll break a leg or something and I'll be stuck in bed and have to watch just... Who knows? Whatever. Anyway, Zach Braff has celebrating a birthday today. He was in Scrubs. I peed next to him. Those of you who know me well know that I have a list of celebrities whom I have peed next to. On that list, Zach Braff is there. Chad Kroeger from Nickelback is also on that list. Scottie Pippen is on that list of people I've peed next to. I said Scottie Pippen, yes. Slash, I didn't mention Slash. Two members. I peed being flanked by two members, including Johnny Resnick of the Goo Goo Dolls. So I was in the middle and there were two Goo Goo Dolls. Why do I do this? I don't know. I have no idea. But if I'm in a room with a celebrity and I see him go to the bathroom, I will go to the bathroom. Have I ever faked it? I know you're asking. Have I ever just faked? No, I can always push one. I can always muster up a little something. But yeah, so if I'm in a room and there's a cocktail party or something and there's a celebrity, hey, Maury Povich is going to the bathroom. I'll go in there. Although at his age, he's probably going in a stall. And that'll be difficult. I don't know if I would count that. I would count that. Maybe another category, a subcategory, old dudes I've pooped next to. No, I can't get into that. The celebrities I've urinated next to is already a little creepy. Why do I do it? I don't know. Some sort of unique connectiveness. Maybe it's something that's really pushed down where it's like we're primal animals and we're peeing here. This is our area, you and me together, nobody else. Nothing shall grow here. Maybe that's it. Animals mark their territory. I don't know. Anyway, just a fun thing I do. If you're a celebrity and you're in the same room with me and you go to the bathroom, you can expect me to follow you. And not in the weird way. Well, this is kind of a weird way. This is not. How about this? In a weird way. I'll follow you into the bathroom in a weird way, but not sexual. So don't worry about it. It's not in a weird sexual way. It's just in a weird, I like to tell people I peed next to celebrities way. And that in itself is weird. And I'll acknowledge that. Born on this day in 1975, Zach Braff from Scrubs, a man I've peed next to. Trying to think if I left anybody out. There's a lot of pro athletes. I've peed next to a lot of pro, but not like Scottie Pippen I named because Scottie Pippen's a big one. But if I peed next to Shaq, I'd mention him. If I peed next to Craig Hodges, maybe not. But you get my point. There is a level of celebrity that I. All right, let's get into the deaths because on this edition of April the 6th. There are a lot of, previously on April the 6th, a lot of big name celebrities have died. Dead on this day in 1998. Tammy Wynette. Tammy, stand by your man. Did you guys see George and Tammy? George and Tammy was the Showtime miniseries about George Jones and Tammy Wynette. It was Michael Shannon played George Jones, and Tammy Wynette was played by the lovely Jessica Chastain. She was great. She's great in everything. She can't fail. I didn't really like it. And I wonder if I didn't like it because I was already very familiar with the George Jones. So, you know who did the best George Jones bio? It was Mike Judge. Mike Judge used to do an animated series called Tales from the Tour Bus. It was just excellent. Anyway, yeah, so there you go. Tammy Wynette, dead on this day. She was big, man. This is a very big name who died on this day. Tammy Wynette, dead on this day. Country superstar, singer, songwriter, legend. Tammy Wynette, dead on this day. Dead on this day in 2014. One of the biggest stars in the world. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney. Hollywood megastar. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney was a massive star from the time he was like 5 years old to the time he was 105 years old. Mickey Rooney draft. Where do I begin? Oh, I know where I begin. Breakfast at Tiffany's, Mr. Miyagi. He played, wait, was it? No, Miyagi was Karate Kid. What was the name of Mickey Rooney, a white Irish guy, middle-aged white man Irish guy, portrayed a Japanese upstairs neighbor to Audrey Hepburn, her character of Holly Golightly, in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And he played it in a way that is just magnificently racist. So that would be the number one pick. Well, Mr. Golightly, he had the big giant buck teeth. You know, it was so racist. Still a great movie, and I believe that through the lens of history, that movie has been made even greater by the shamelessly racist portrayal by Mickey Rooney. It makes it funny. It's a long time ago. We can laugh at that. Mickey Rooney, dead on this day in 2014. Dead on this day in 2015. On this day, the legends fall. Ladies and gentlemen, American icon Ray Charles. Ray Charles died on this day. We got Tammy Wynette, we got Mickey Rooney, and we got Ray Charles. Dead on this day. These are the people who died. These are the people who died. I always want to use that as like the theme, you know, that Jim Carroll song. These are the people who died. It's a iconic punk song from probably, 78, 79. But I can't use music anymore. Nobody ever sees these shows. They're blacking my show out when I start playing music. But seriously, something weird is happening with people who die. Ray Charles, man. Ray Charles, huge megastar. Mickey Rooney, huge megastar. Tammy Wynette, huge megastar. Dead on this day. Dead on this day in 2016, Merle Haggard. Now it's getting weird. Merle Haggard was also born on this day. Merle Haggard, happy birthday, you're dead. Good Lord. That's rare. A megastar born. Merle Haggard's a legend. Merle Haggard is a megastar. Tammy Wynette, megastar. Mickey Rooney, megastar. Ray Charles, megastar. Merle Haggard, megastar. All of them died on this day. April the 6th, throughout time. Ladies and gentlemen, on this day in 2017, Don Rickles died on this day. Don Rickles is a comedy legend. So let's recap here. In 1998, one of the leading voices, a female country music American icon, Tammy Wynette, dies. On this day in 2014, Mickey Rooney, an icon of Hollywood from its earliest days, Mickey Rooney dies. This day in 2015, Ray Charles. Ray Charles is a goddamn American treasure. On this day, Ray Charles died. 2016, Merle Haggard, Mount Rushmore country, right? I mean, I don't know, Johnny Cash, me it would be Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, and Merle Haggard. That's, What about Willie? I think of Willie really more as a writer, but okay. Willie, we'll make room for Willie. And then Don Rickles, one of the most important comedians of all time, Don Rickles. Wow. That's what I said, not a good day to be a megastar, man. Not a good day to be a megastar. Celebrities die on this day. So, I don't know, man. Jimmy Carter, how's he doing? How's Jimmy Carter doing? He would be a big one, to lose a president on this day, to add the Tammy Wynette, Mickey Rooney, Merle Haggard, Ray Charles, and Don Rickles, and Jimmy Carter, God forbid. But I'm just saying, he's been in hospice now for a couple weeks. Poor guys. All right. How are we doing with drink? I don't know. I'm taking this allergy medication because, the weather, because it's, it was 105 a couple of days ago, and now I think it's in the 30s. What is it? What is it right now? Obviously, I'm kidding about the 30s. It's 57. Just feels really cold outside. All right, let's get into what's happening today. Do we feel like we have a firm understanding of all the things that have happened over the past, years on this particular day? So let's get into what is trending. What are the big things that are happening today? Okay, let's see here. First and foremost, it's problems in Israel. This is really heating up today. It's Passover, so, it's the high holy days. 34 rockets have been fired from Lebanon into Israel over the past few hours. Now I guess this is reported. So in the last day or so, it's heating up. The Iron Dome, I've been seeing really cool videos of the Iron Dome working. I could not imagine living like that. I mean, these videos of the Iron Dome in action. The Iron Dome is the missile defense system that Israel utilizes to keep, projectiles coming in from whether it's Gaza or Lebanon or wherever, honestly. And it's pretty effective. And so, there are people just sitting in their backyards. Like you'll see, there's one video that I was watching. They literally had a fire pit going, and you could see glasses of wine on the table. They are sitting in their backyard with their cell phones, recording the Iron Dome missile defense system intercept Hezbollah, I don't know, whatever, Lebanese incoming rockets above their backyard. And they're just sitting there. Like that's just a normal part of their life. Couldn't imagine. Jeez, good Lord. So this follows a number of arrests at the Temple Mount, which is that place. I don't know if you're familiar with Israel, but there was like one chunk of land that every religion claims as the holiest spot on earth. Which, if I was a man who believed in religion, I might go, well, that's kind of weird, right? Maybe that is something then. If everybody agrees, even people who don't even agree on their religion agree that this particular. So it's a Temple Mount. Israeli forces went in and arrested a whole bunch of protesters, Muslim protesters. It's complicated. But anyway, there's some bad shit happening in Israel right now as we speak. So there you go. Nashville, some crazy stuff going on in Nashville right now. So we had the shooting that occurred in Nashville, right? A week ago, tragic shooting at that school there in Nashville. So Tennessee, the state legislature in Tennessee is like, they're doing all kinds of like, I'll just read it to you because this is a very touchy subject, and I don't think you need me freeballing it on a very touchy subject. It says here, Nashville. Let me get rid of this. Nashville school shooting protest on Tennessee State House floor could see Republicans expel 3 Democratic colleagues. So this issue is about guns, and this issue is about gun violence in schools, but a couple of Democrats who are standing up for what they see as misguided and draconian laws being enacted in the wake of the school shooting, are pushing back, and there were big fights on the floor among the colleagues there. And these 3 Democrats were basically punished by a all-powerful leader of the Tennessee House. They were punished. They were removed from all their committees. They're basically being kicked out of the Congress, even though they represent people who voted for them and put them there to push exactly these kinds of values. So the result of that was now there's thousands and thousands of people who have descended upon the Tennessee State House and are protesting and trying to push it. It's crazy. It's crazy. So don't be distracted by the people who are pushing. Don't be distracted by the actions of an authoritarian governing body, the Tennessee legislature. And what I mean by authoritarian is when they don't like what some of their members are saying, instead of having debate, which is the whole purpose of a Congress of coming together, a meeting, a discussion, the whole purpose of it, they just expel them. So you can't do that. Okay, you can't just expel. Look, if we could just expel people from their elected positions, George Santos wouldn't be a problem. Okay, but we can't do that. But in Tennessee, they did. So now there's thousands of people who are angry about these 3 representatives being expelled from chambers there in Tennessee. And it's really kind of unfortunate because these 3 people are now going to boost their name recognition there. So now they were nameless and faceless and nobody knew who they were. They were just state reps, you know. But now they're cause celebs. Now they're icons for a movement. And again, the problem that I see is nobody's addressing the gun issue now. Now it's about other bullshit. Now it's not about what these kids are originally upset about and want to talk about and want to have a discussion on. Now it's about these individuals and the bullshit between the far right and these whatevers. I don't even know. Whatever. I don't know. But that's what's going on in Tennessee. Tennessee is having some crazy, crazy days. RFK Jr. Yeah, we got an idiot Kennedy running for president again. That's right. RFK Jr., the son of Bobby Kennedy. He's running for president. He's running as a Democrat. He's going to challenge Biden. I'm coming for you, Joe. Okay. This guy's trouble. this guy's trouble because he's got a name. Oh, and you know who he's married to? He's married to Cheryl Hines. You know the actress? Cheryl Hines. Cheryl David from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Cheryl, Larry's wife for like the first 3 years. And then she hooked up with Ted Danson and all that shit. In real life, she's married to RFK Jr. She could be first lady. But she can't because RFK Jr. is a... I mean, he's... The entire Kennedy family has gone, no, not him. And it sucks because he's not even a fringe Kennedy, man. He is like RFK Jr., right? He's like the junior of one of the 2 biggest Kennedys. So that, you know, I mean, if Trump could get elected, I mean, this guy could bamboozle a whole bunch of people into voting for him just because his name is RFK. RFK Kennedy. I don't know. It's going to be weird. And I'm not really, here's the thing. And I tweeted this yesterday. I'd be totally okay with RFK. I might even vote for RFK Jr. If it came down to it, if it's like RFK Jr. or whatever, I might vote for RFK Jr. Not because I believe in any of his policies. I think he's crazy. But you know what? I think we've had crazy presidents before. I'm just saying, I think we've had crazy presidents before at this point. And, you know, the system, you know, it's fine. There's an autopilot. We can survive 4 years. So whatever. I'll vote for him just because I want to see the next season of Curb. Because you know that Larry will somehow make it that his ex-wife is now the first lady. I just want to see that season. I think that's a good season of Curb. Where Larry's ex-wife, Cheryl, is now the first lady. I don't know, though. I don't know if it'd be worth it. Anyway, RFK Jr., Crazy Kennedy, he's going to challenge... he's fine. Nobody's going to vote for him. I don't know, though, man. RFK Jr., just recycle some of those old RFK speeches. Although, doesn't he have a vocal cord issue? Is Robert Kennedy the guy who had, like, I think he had, like, a cancer in his vocal cords? So now he can't really talk. I don't know how that's going to work on campaign, you know. I don't know. He's going to lose his voice, like, first day. You know, at the end of the campaign, like the night before the presidential election, the president always, or the guy running for president always gives a speech, and his voice is totally gone because he's just done 15 speeches in the last 3 hours. And, you know, it's like that. Robert Kennedy Jr., I don't think he's built for that. I don't think that'll work. We got some earthquakes. We got some earthquakes. Apparently, Oklahoma had a big earthquake this morning. Well, big for Oklahoma. 4.3 on the Richter Square. Somewhere, Kearney, Oklahoma. People woke up this morning in Kearney, Oklahoma to a 4.3. Is this one of them frack quakes? Or is this an earthquake? Because I don't know. There was one of them frack quakes. Don't they have a whole bunch of earthquakes in North Texas now? I mean, I don't know. I've never felt one. But apparently there's a whole bunch of earthquakes now because of the fracking. Someone should look into that. That just, to me, I would just say, can we look into that? And in oil companies or fracking companies or whatever, just can we look into it? And if the news is bad, do you promise not to lie about it? Oh, you can't promise that you won't lie about the news even if it's bad. Okay, all right, well, then I guess we do need regulations. I guess we do need people to come in and make sure that, but that's going to get in the way of business. Yeah, well, also earthquakes. So let's just, shut the fuck up, okay? It is International Asexuality Day. And I'm going to take this opportunity to, I suppose, come out of the closet. I'm going to come out of the closet, and with my understanding of asexuality, I'm going to say that I am asexuality adjacent. I am asexuality curious. I am a-curious. Is that a thing? A-curious. So today, this is so silly. It is International Asexuality Day. You know what asexuality is? Asexuality is people who aren't interested in sex. They're just like, whatever. I mean, I think mine is more just because I'm older and it's, that done it. It's not like, it's not like when I was 16 or whatever. What is International Asexuality Day? Actually, let's find out what exactly I assume that asexuality is just people who aren't into sex. That's kind of me. Let's see here. Identity. Because there is a significant variation among those who identify as asexual, the term asexuality can encompass broad definitions. Researchers generally define asexuality as the lack of sexual attraction or the lack of interest in sexual activity. All right, well, I got that one. I don't really have big interest in sexual activity lately. Schwartz is like, you got to get testosterone. And I'm like, why? So I can just be still me but horny? This is kind of working for me right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's not bad like that. I tease him like that. That became a running joke. He mentioned it to me once that I should look into testosterone. But he's not the only person who has mentioned it, so he becomes sort of the vessel for whenever I try and. All right, so it says here. So I don't lack sexual attraction. Oh, I mean, I see hot people all the time, hot chicks all the time. Oh, she's hot. I'm attracted to her. I'd like to kiss on her. I'd like to hold her hand and watch a movie, something like that. Just all the other work, all the other stuff just seems unnecessary at this point. So as far as it's International Asexuality Day. If you are asexual, come on out. Okay, so I am interested in sex. Like I do still like recognize. Like I guess there are some people out there who just are like robots and they're not attracted to anything. That would suck. That's a big part of life, having crushes and stuff. That would suck. All right. Because there are significant variations among those who identify as asexual, the term asexuality can encompass broad definitions. Researchers generally define sexuality as the lack of sexual attraction or the lack of interest in sexual activity. Though specific definitions vary, the term may be used to refer to individuals with low or absent sexual behavior or exclusively romantic non-sexual partnerships. Like friend zones. Yeah, there you go. There you go, kiddo. You're not in the friend zone. You're just asexual. You're practicing an asexual lifestyle. You're not friend zoned. We got names for everything. We got medical conditions for everything. Because if you can slap a medical condition on anything, you can create a pill for that medical condition. And then the pharmaceutical companies can sell those pills. So there you go. You're just not, you're not unlayable anymore. You're just asexual. And you should take a pill for that. Ask your doctor. No, that's the biggest, do you remember when that all started happening with all of these men? Because Congress, because we don't need regulations, oh, here I go again, they got rid of all of these sort of things that limited how pills were marketed to the American public. Because at one point, we understood that could be dangerous. Because if people have the impression that they could just take a pill and make everything magically go away, then you know what? They might try that. And those pills might not be the best thing for them. So some smart people got together and said, let's limit commercial pharmaceutical companies and their ability to sort of, make your life better. Let's stop that. And for years and years and years, that was the thing. And then all of a sudden, that's going to get in the way of business. And then every commercial was, ask your doctor. No, don't ask your doctor. And do you know why it was specifically worded that way? Ask your doctor. Because a doctor cannot just shill for a pharmaceutical company. That's sort of unethical. So a doctor can't be expected to just start pushing this drug because he's getting trips to the Caribbean from the pharmaceutical company. He can't do that. So they put it in the advertising campaigns that it was on us to ask our doctor. Ask your doctor. Because once you ask your doctor for something specifically, the Hippocratic oath that he takes, he has to take your concern seriously. So if you ask your doctor, and that's why we're addicted to everything. And that was something our politicians did. So, ask your doctor. Do you have chronic back pain? New from, who was it? Who are these people? I forgot. New from whatever. It's oxycodone. Ask your doctor. It's non-addictive. Ask your doctor. Thanks, Congress of the United States. Thanks for looking out for us. Nobody talks about that little aspect of the opioid crisis, how it was a very specific Congress in the mid-1990s who did that made it so that we're all taking everything for anything. I don't take anything for anything. I take melatonin gummies at night. Maybe smoke a little weed every now and again. That's about it. I don't even drink alcohol. We're taking way too much. We're taking way too much. Why are we taking way too much? Do we need it? No. Do the pharmaceutical companies have stockholders to answer to? They sure do. They sure do. So take your pills and shut up. All right. That was fun. I don't know how that turned into, well, it started out as a conversation about it being International Asexuality Day, a community that I am now finding that I may be a member of. I don't know. Monique the comedian is definitely not a member. Monique is making news today because apparently she comes out in her new Netflix special as being bisexual. At least that's how the headline is portraying it. Monique comes out as bisexual in new comedy special. No, she doesn't. Because when you actually open the story and you read it, what you see is she has a comedy bit. She has a joke, a run of jokes where she talks about the sexy pillow talk that her and her husband have, in which in one storyline she says, I want to have a sexual relationship with another woman. And her husband lovingly, this is the joke, and her husband lovingly and caringly looks her in the eye and understandingly says to her, so do I. That's the new joke in her comedy routine that has headlines today screaming, Monique comes out as bisexual. Fuck! It's all a manipulation. No, she didn't. She was making a joke. It was an obvious joke. It's in her comedy special. She didn't go, I want to stop the show right now and just tell you something about me. No, she made a funny joke about pillow talk during romantic time with her husband, with her male husband. Monique, bisexual. Mrs. Doubtfire. There's apparently, this is so absurd. You want to talk about, we were talking about Tennessee and their silly authoritarian situation going on down there. What's that? You're saying something that disagrees with me? You are banned from this body, sir. That's what's going on in Tennessee. There's crazy shit going on in state houses all across the country. Do you know that currently in 7 state houses, I don't have the list of states, but probably the usual suspects. It's probably not New York. You know what I mean? It's probably not New Hampshire. 7 states currently have bills to make possession or showing of Mrs. Doubtfire illegal. Mrs. Doubtfire! Robin Williams, who is estranged from his children, and in order to spend more time with them, he poses as the nanny for these children. He wears a woman's clothing. Mrs. Doubtfire, right? Oh, that's drag. That's drag. That movie specifically falls under a category with these wide sweeping drag bans. I don't know, man. I don't know if you live in Florida, I don't know that you'll ever see Monty Python again. I don't think that'll be something that will ever be allowed. Mrs. Doubtfire, can we just take a deep breath? Just contemplate how asinine this whole thing has gotten. Mrs. Doubtfire is bad for kids. They might see it and then they might want to be a Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, that's it. This 7-year-old boy's going to grow up to be somebody who wants to dress as a woman and clean the house of his ex-wife. Yeah, that's really probably going to happen. Watch out for that. Let's ban Mrs. Doubtfire. The very same people who are looking to ban Mrs. Doubtfire now want us to stop drinking Jack Daniels. The reason this gets mentioned, it's trending today. The reason I mention it is because it bespeaks a level. It's a machine. The outrage machine is what it is. And it just keeps on cranking shit out. Jack Daniels was trending all day yesterday and it's still trending today because probably, and I say the same people want Mrs. Doubtfire banned, the same people don't want you to drink Jack Daniels anymore. I mean, you can't drink Jack Daniels anymore. We're boycotting Jack Daniels. We're boycotting Jack Daniels because, you guys, Jack Daniels has teamed in a partnership with RuPaul. Is it RuPaul? Is that what this is? Wait, or is this, hold on, wait. Yeah, it is. It's RuPaul. All right. Jack Daniels is doing a partnership with RuPaul, and, so people are outraged. Well, I am never drinking woke whiskey again. God damn it, I've had enough of this woke whiskey. Jack Daniels. You people can't drink Jack Daniels anymore. You can't watch football. You can't drink Jack Daniels. Come on. Oh. Here's the problem, and this is why I say it's just an outrage machine. It just endlessly cranks shit out for no purpose other than to keep you stoked. Jack Daniels did this 2 years ago. This is a 2-year, it's long over the promotion and the partnership with RuPaul's Drag Race, the TV show that Jack Daniels did. It's long over. It was 2 years ago. But the outrage machine that is dependent on you being so angry that you donate more money, the outrage machine that many of us have fallen victim to, just spit out a 2-year-old story and started trending again, like it's something that's happening now, not something that was 2 years ago, and you guys missed it. Oh, but you missed it too, so now you can go back in time. Well, I guess that's it. I guess they're running out of actual contemporary trans or drag targets, so now they're going back in time. They're going a 2-year-old Jack Daniels ad. You can't drink Jack Daniels because they were woke 2 years ago. And a movie from like 1990. When was Mrs. Doubtfire made? All right. And now we got one that is contemporary. I think when they cranked up the outrage machine for Jack Daniels and recycled the 2-year-old promotion that Jack Daniels entered into with RuPaul from 2020 or 2021, before they cranked that and spit that out, they must have anticipated that there was a lull coming with anti-drag, anti-trans content that they would be able to, propagandize. So they spit out an old story, I find it. But right on the heels of that, look at this. Oh, they can't drink Bud Light. Can't drink Bud Light either. Bud Light is now banned. You cannot drink Bud Light, any kind of Anheuser-Busch product. No football, no Jack Daniels, and now no Anheuser-Busch products. This is because, and this is happening right now. This is right now. Anheuser-Busch has formed a partnership with a trans person. Oh my goodness. But here's the thing. Here's what I'm most interested in. It's that same trans person. Do you remember like last week we were talking, I think it was Kate Spade bags, where a whole bunch of people who would never in a million years have ever purchased a Kate Spade bag or know what a Kate Spade bag is or even know what a Kate Spade is. They were all like, "What the boycott Kate Spade bags?" I'm like, okay, you carry all your belongings in a Walmart bag. You're honestly thinking that this is going to affect somebody? We're not going to Kate Spade and spending $900 on a pocket wallet anymore. You know what I mean? It was like so totally stupid. You weren't doing it anyway. But Kate Spade, they were in trouble because they hired this Dylan trans person. And now Bud Light has hired the same trans person. It's like, they're like making one. They got one. It's like, this is the one. Is this tokenism? I don't know. This person, this Dylan person, it can't be the only trans person looking for work, looking for spokesmodel work, right? Yeah, here we go. They do this all the time. They do this with everything. For like 20 years. For like 20 years in Hollywood, you needed an Asian guy, you got Arnold from Happy Days. That was it. That was the only guy. The only guy they let work. There was a couple black guys they let work, but really it was like 3 black guys. It was Harry Belafonte, it was Sidney Poitier, and Bill Cosby, if you needed a little comic. But that was it. They let 3 in for that. And here we are with the trans community now breaking through, and they got one. It's this Dylan person. They're hawking Kate Spade bags and now Bud Light. Bud Light partnership with trans influencer prompts right-wing backlash. I bet it does. But what kind of beer are you guys going to drink? Because as was pointed out online yesterday, Miller has also partnered with trans organizations and is a major supporter of pride parades from coast to coast. Okay, so again, because of your silly ginned up hatred that other people manufactured for you and that you willingly accepted, and that you're making them rich. You're not making rich. You're actually losing money because so after all of this, you can't watch football, you can't have Jack Daniels, you can't drink any Anheuser-Busch product or any Miller product. Again, all because some guy got you all riled up. Stop it. This is why I live my life separating the art from the artist. Because I don't care. If you make a Nazi cola and it tastes really good, and as long as it doesn't have like a swastika on it, I don't care. I do not care what the political leanings are of the CEO of the company whose product I enjoy. I really don't. Separate the art from the artist. The cola is the art. The artist is, I don't give a shit. I don't care what he's getting into. I'm liking the art. They can't do that though. They can't do that. Is that why Kid Rock was trending? Yeah, Kid Rock is trending alongside the whole Bud Light thing because Kid Rock did a video where, I don't know, he took like I don't know what it was, AK, AR, I don't know what it was. He had a gun, and he's in the field, and he's like, "Derp, derp, derp, derp," and he turns, and he goes, and he blows up like a bunch of cases of Bud Light. Yeah, stay relevant, man. What? Like, think about it. If you hadn't heard about Kid Rock and, him getting involved politically and, certainly choosing a side and being very provocative in certain ways, if not for that, would you have heard of Kid Rock in 20 years? You know what I mean? It's like, this is like the only thing that He's putting out new music. He's putting out new music, and he's selling it to the people that he's... Kid Rock ain't making any radio hits. He ain't selling any albums, you know? He's you know... He's doing videos now where he's like, derp, 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 and then he blows, and whatever the derp, it's like something like, I ain't drinking no Budweiser, because they like the people who dress in the pants with the dresses, you know, whatever. Kid Rock. There were some funny side-by-side pictures, though, that are suggesting that Kid Rock is morphing into Mike Lindell, and when you look at these side-by-side pictures, they really do. It's funny. Funny, they could be brothers. Kid Rock could be Mike Lindell's little brother at this point. They do kind of look... I still like that bow with a bow. See, separate the art from the artist, man. If I'm in a bar and we're having fun and that bow with a bow, da bang, it comes on, I am throwing down. I'm going for it. Because once again, I could separate the art from the artist. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, this is a crazy, crazy cool story. I like this one. You guys are going to like this one. So remember when Biggie died and then Puffy made that song, Missing You, is everybody's huge hit, right? Or what song was it? I don't even know what song it is. Here, let me click on it. I'll tell you exactly what the song is. But they sampled Every Breath You Take. Every breath you take, I'm missing you. Whatever it is, I don't know, whatever the song was. Huge song, massive song, song of the year, big hit, number one, across the charts, everybody's singing it, massive, massive song. Here's the problem. Old Puff Daddy, back when he made that song, he did not secure the rights from the police for the song, you know, the sample of Every Breath You Take. It was a pretty standard operating procedure in the hip-hop game back then. You would not secure the rights to a song, because why would you pay that money up front if the song wasn't a hit? And if the song didn't make any money, then they would never come after you anyway, because there's nothing there. But if the song becomes a hit, now suddenly you're making money. Now you can afford to pay for them. So it was pretty standard operating procedure to just not get the rights to a sample before the record. And then on the off chance that the song became a hit, see, the problem is this song became a crossover mega smash, which, you know, was bigger than most songs that have to pay retroactive royalties to people whose music they've illegally sampled. So what ended up happening was the police got very angry because within like a week, this song sold more copies of the one single than the police had ever sold of anything else. And the lawyers got involved. And P. Diddy's lawyers and the lawyers for the police, they came to an agreement. This is an in perpetuity agreement. In perpetuity means forever. And basically, it breaks down to this. Every single day, Sting, as the principal songwriter for Every Breath You Take, every single day, Sting receives a check from P. Diddy for $5,000. Every single day, no matter what, for the sampling of one song. $5,000 a day. Now, I did the math for you. I did the math on this, okay? Because I needed to see this. So that's $5,000 over the course of 365 days. That comes to $1.8 million a year. Okay? Now it seems a little more manageable, right? So that song has earned Sting $1.8 million a year because Puffy didn't license it ahead of time. Probably could have gotten it for a couple $100,000 like beforehand, but it became such a hit that the song just made so much money, and it's licensed in films and in you know what I mean? That song is a cash cow to this day. So it's been 26 years of him making $1.8 million in perpetuity for that song. That means, what does that mean? Even like his family, Sting dies, even his family will continue on to get paid $5,000 a day for that one song? To date, 26 years, P. Diddy has paid Sting $47.45 million for the sample of Every Breath You Take on that song. almost $50 million. Now, 26 years, we're talking about this arena where big money is thrown around, and I don't know where these numbers come from, but this actually sounds manageable, like 47 million, Patrick Mahomes makes that in a year. You know what I mean? But still, could you imagine being Sting and every single day waking up to, unbelievable. Bohemian Grove is trending. This is a fun subject. Adam says a lot of times back then they didn't. I assume you're talking about getting the rights, but most of those settled. Well, yeah. But most of them settled because the original artist who was sampled became aware of it in not so obvious of ways. Like maybe an artist realized they were sampled because a song, they heard it. Maybe that song went to number 20 on the charts and, isn't really particularly memorable 30 years later. But in those cases, they did. They settled. They all settled because it was easier. It was thought to be, why throw the money away paying for something before we have a hit? Right now, we're going to sample it, and what we have isn't worth anything. So why are we going to pay? It was a con. It was shady business, but it's the way it was done. They would rather pay after the fact. What's the old adage? It's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. That's basically what it was, And if you're asking forgiveness after you've just had a wild success, it's pretty good. So that's the gamble that they took. Happened all the time. It's just that this particular song was very big, much bigger than all the other ones, much bigger than, the sampling on Funky Cold Medina, which I think that was Free. I think Free settled with them, the band Free. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah, Bohemian Grove. So I want to talk about Bohemian Grove a little bit. You guys know what Bohemian Grove is? Bohemian Grove, the Bohemian Club of San Francisco is an elitist club. Bunch of rich guys, bunch of rich dudes in San Francisco, bunch of connected, bunch of very conservative, ultra-conservative, Republican, moneyed people in San Francisco. They formed the Bohemian Club years and years ago. Every year, they go out for a club retreat where they go into the woods, this plot of land that they purchased, years and years ago. It's called Bohemian Grove. And it's almost like Camp David. If you're familiar with what Camp David is for the President of the United States, it's this wooded, very, very in the middle of the woods, secluded location, heavy security, fence. These are all billionaires. These are all super billionaires. And once a year, they all meet at this location in the woods called Bohemian Grove, run by the Bohemian Club of San Francisco. People have known about this for years and years. It's just a boring old rich guy club, right? That's always what it's been. Although in recent years, it's suddenly taken on this air of the 1%er lizard people, they don't want you to know about it. And I love that argument. I love the people who are like, they keep it a secret. It's a total secret. You're not allowed to know anything about it. And I'm like, that's not true. I've been hearing about this since the 80s. This is a thing. I remember. So I want to give you an example of how we're manipulated by people. I want to show you something. It's a secret. They don't want you to know anything about it. And they don't talk about it. And you can't talk about it. And, it's where the lizard people and the aliens, they practice, satanic. That's fun. That's fun stuff, man. That's fun stuff to think about. I'll give you that. Doesn't mean it's real. It does. Hold on, I can't find something here. I'm having difficulty. Oh, damn it. Damn. Hold on, folks. I'm having a computer issue. Oh, for crying out loud. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. I don't know why this is happening. All right. Crap. Crap. All right. Well, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, no. It's very important that I show you guys this. My computer is acting weird. Okay. All right, I'm sorry. This is really becoming a problem. All right, here we go. So, God, it was taking forever to buffer. I hate this. All right, so let me show you this. This is like the modern. This is what people are being led to believe Bohemian Grove is. By the way, it's been depicted on like endless TV shows. West Wing, Succession, Billions, variations of what Bohemian. But it's fun to imagine that there are monster devil worshippers or alien lizard people. Whatever, take your pick, whatever you want to believe that they are. It's just more fun to think that. When in reality, this is just a bunch of stupid, eccentric, rich people who are very well connected, and they get together in the woods and camp for business. This is where like deals are done. It's how these guys get together. They realize they can't be operating business in the world with a bunch of friggin' peasants, which is what everybody else is. They want to be cutting deals with guys of their own ilk. And then guys of their own ilk like that, they don't tend to hang around together. You know why? Because their egos are insane. It's why Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos aren't best friends. Elon Musk has no other billionaire bust buddies. That's not how billionaires work. Everyone around, so once a year they have to go, all right, we got to go hang out with these other billionaires to see what corner of the world we can take over next. Is that the kind of shit that goes on there? Yeah. Have wars been started and discussed and all that at places like this? Yeah. Because the kinds of people who have that kind of influence and power go to this thing. Now, are they lizard people practicing Satanism and trying to remove Jesus from the school system in America? The fuck no! Stop it with that, okay? Stop it. Just a bunch of corrupt rich dudes. We don't need to mythologize what's going on there. It's a bunch of weird... Rich dudes are weird. I don't know if you know this. Rich dudes, super rich dudes. If you're telling me that these super rich dudes are having like something where they light a bonfire and they all wear hoods and they chant and they do monk shit, I'm gonna go, yeah, they fucking totally do that. Watch this. This is the way like recent generations have been presented with the idea of Bohemian Grove. But he's so silly these days. I don't get it. All right, so this comes from Rogan's podcast. All right, so here, let's watch this. This was Rogan giving the Rogan treatment to Bohemian Grove. All right.
Bohemian Grove is this place in California where all the elites go and they put fucking druid costumes on and they worship Moloch, the owl god. And everybody thought it was bullshit. But John Ronson and Alex Jones snuck in. And this is in like the 90s?
Sets us free. You shall burn me once again.
And Nixon went there, and Reagan went there. Yeah, Bohemian Grove. You don't know what it is?
Nixon and Reagan went
Bohemian
there?
Grove is a famous place where rich world leaders would meet in Northern California, and they literally worship this Moloch, the owl.
Okay, so here's a big problem here, and this is the way when I said the Joe Rogan spin. Joe Rogan just said, and they literally worship the owl god Morlock. Okay, first, that's only concerning to learn that they literally worship the owl god Morlock. That's only concerning if you believe the owl god Morlock could possibly be a thing. And it's not. It's a bit. These are weird, eccentric. He goes, come, we must all worship the oil god. This is no different than the Grand Poobah Lodge that the guy who runs, the plumbing business in your neighborhood goes to, where they wear the silly hats and they have the crazy handshakes and they. This is what men do. Men play stupid games. Joe Rogan knows this. He's presenting it here like Morlock the owl god is a real thing. They go there. You know how we're all concerned about Morlock the owl god? Yeah. Okay, that's totally a thing that we all agree is real, that we live in this world and Morlock the owl god is real. Well, they worship him there. There's no such fucking thing as Morlock the owl god. These are a bunch of rich weirdos. Do you guys watch Succession? Have you seen the rich weirdos, the eccentric, I'm so rich I can do anything I want, and if I want to go with a bunch of my buddies and dress up like monks and chant songs and worship Morlock the Owl, that is totally on brand for the average 1%er in America today. They're fucking weird, man. They don't live like the rest of us. So again, I love Joe. But he knows what he's doing. They literally worship Morlock, the owl god, a thing that we all know is real. So we should be concerned that they're so stupid. All right, so that's example one. That's example one of how, in 2023, the idea of Bohemian Woods is being presented. Because it's fun when it's presented that way. Morlock, the owl god. No, do they do that? Yes. Does anyone actually believe that there was a Morlock the owl god while they're doing the chants to Morlock? No, they're just a bunch of rich guys being silly because there are no repercussions for rich guys. And rich guys in their personal universe is never going to have one of their supplicants come up to them and go, ha ha, you look silly doing that. That's why you do silly shit, because you don't have anybody to check you in your world. And that's how billionaires are. So they do fucking silly shit. And then it gets out and it's like, they're worshiping Morlock, the owl god, at the super secret. Alex Jones had to sneak cameras in. No, Alex Jones had to sneak cameras in because he went in with he had an agenda. So yeah. Let me show you something about the super secret. Nobody talks about it. Nobody's allowed it. Nobody's... Right? That's the way it's being presented. Now, remember, I always tell you that we're being manipulated and we're being worked. So when people tell you things, don't just go, oh, Bohemian, I don't know about Bohemian Woods, and Joe Rogan said that it's super secret and they have to sneak in and all that nobody knows that it exists. And what do you mean? Okay, so that's the believed narrative, right, of today. All right. The super secret, never before talked about, as featured on ABC News
What
back in the
have
70s.
Herbert Hoover, Art Linkletter, Jack London, and Richard Nixon all had in common? Well, they've all been members of the exclusive all-male Bohemian Club in California.
1981.
Where every
BBC
year
was
at this
allowed
time,
to
the
go
elite
in.
from around the country get together for 2.5 weeks of fun and games. Steve Shepard has this special assignment report.
More than 2,000 members of San Francisco's exclusive and all-male Bohemian Club have once again descended on Northern California. These men will spend most of the month of July encamped on some 2,700 acres of pristine and privately owned redwood forest. Forest very much like this. The place is called Bohemian Grove, and it's located just 80 miles north of San Francisco. The Grove is the Bohemian Club's summer retreat.
All right, so it goes on and on. We don't need to watch the whole report, but it's 80 miles north of San Francisco. Super secret location. Nobody ever talks about it. Oh, well, you've never heard of this? Oh, no, this is a real thing. Yeah, this is a real thing. It's totally top secret, super secret. They worship the owl god. Dude, people have been talking about Bohemian Grove. It's not a secret, okay? It's not a secret. You've turned it into that because people have found a way to tap into the crazy sector of the American population, and everything is a conspiracy theory now. And anything that you can shoehorn the lizard people narrative into, well, that sells. They literally worship Morlock, the owl god. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show as far as the stuff that we have prepared. Excuse me. Jeff Ballard says, billions do the same every Sunday at churches and temples and mosques. The mind, the sage wisdom emanating from the middle of Iowa cornfields. That's right, Jeff. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. We need to get them weirdos at Bohemian Grove. Now let me go to church and play with snakes and speak in tongues. It's not secret. Are they doing all kinds of illicit rich guy things? Yeah. Yeah, they are. That's what rich guys do when you get them together. They start wars. They create narratives, and they push candidates. People are, deemed, you're the one we're going to push for president. Yeah. Are those things all happening at Bohemian Grove? Yes. Has it been kept a secret that those things have been happening? Nah, not since, Richard Nixon released pictures of himself sitting there with Reagan. And no, it's not a secret. It's not a secret. The very mysterious Bohemian Grove. Alex Jones had to sneak in. What do you say we check out what's happening on Twitter? Let's see what's going on there. What's going on in the world of Twitter? I'm still a bit shook, my guys. I'm still a bit shook by the whole big-time celebrities who died on this day. I'm a little bit worried about, gotta be honest, a little slightly concerned for our aging major celebrities. All right, let's see. What do we have trending here? Trending, bow bending, banana fan. Tonight on Pugs and Parker. Pugs and Parker is the second stream that we do. This one, I try to make it more informative. I try to give you all the hot topics and hot takes that, one man can take. I do this every day, Monday through Friday at noon, but we come back at 9 o'clock, 9 Central Time, 9 Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. It's Pugs and Parker with E. Last night we were supposed to have Reed Reeker, the original general manager of Live 105.3. We're using the 9 o'clock show to interview some of our old friends from 105.3 because we're putting together a documentary. Who killed Live 105.3? And you know what? We didn't read. There was an issue with getting Reed on last night, and we've fixed it. And he will be on next week. But we used last night just to sort of do a state of the project and just have a conversation about where we are and all the people that we've talked about so far. Tonight, Thursday night, we're going to have Chaz Knight, one of my favorite people in the history of 105.3. Chaz was in charge of, Chaz was in charge of the promotions department. He also hosted a number of shows on the station, and he is a member of Dallas's best party band, Red Leather. So Chaz is going to be on tonight at 9. Now, why is Chaz interesting? Chaz is going to have some stories, man. Chaz, he was brought in with Jason. Chaz and Jason were the two guys that essentially were running the marketing and promotions department at 105.3 when the station started. The promotions director, the person, the corporate officer in charge of that entire department was a wonderful woman who unfortunately was battling cancer. And so she was not there. So for this all-important launch, you had these two, two dudes. They were just two dudes who worked in the promotions department. And they were dealing with Russ Martin and his white trash bash nonsense and getting everything just perfect for that. And every time Pugs and Kelly had an idea for another thing, dodgeball, they put dodgeball together. I mean, Chaz saw a lot of stuff. So we're going to have some fun stories about some of the big events that we did at Live 105.3. And the best person to really give us the behind-the-scenes view of all that is Chaz Knight. So that's tonight. Chaz Knight will join us on Pugs and Parker as a part of the Who Killed Live 105.3 interview series that we're doing. All right, let's see here. Hey, now that we got time, should I do a Paul Rudd draft? I don't think so. See, I'm just looking through all these names. A lot of baseball names. Apparently there's games going on right now. A lot of games. Yeah, I'm done. We're done. I think that's it, guys. I'm sorry. We ran a little short today. Not much happened. I'm shook from all the celebrity deaths. Y'all know? Y'all can understand that. All right, I appreciate you being here with me. I think I got you pretty much briefed up. Those are all the stupid stories for the day. It's everything you need. Nope, not that one. There we go. Why is it so low? There we go. It's cold outside. It's gray outside. I got the heat on. I put the heat on. What am I thinking? It was almost 100 degrees like 3 days ago. Terrible. Hope you guys had a good time. I did. I always enjoy this. I can't thank you enough. Giving me a little direction for 2 hours a day. I love it. I love having a schedule. I love waking up at a time instead of just sleeping. Ain't nothing worse than that. That's when you're in depression. That's when you sleep till like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I used to do that a lot. I used to have that. And now I understand that that's depression. And then I got to force myself to wake up. Journey. So I like it. I like the schedule. And you guys have provided that for me, so I appreciate that. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll rally back here. If not tonight at 9 o'clock for the Chaz Night interview, then I'll see you tomorrow at noon. Because as John Hinckley sings, tomorrow is another day. Tip the show if you can. We always appreciate your gratuities. The show runs entirely. My life runs entirely on your gratuities. Thank you, folks. We love you. Bye.